guys, welcome to Sopi Studio Umbiamas, conectando Aruba com o mundo via vídeo podcasting. Conectar conosco, compartilhar ideias e histórias para nos inspirar e para conan abrir. Sopi Studio é plataforma de podcast na Aruba. Follow-nos riba Facebook, subscribe riba YouTube, ou riba plataforma de podcast preferido. Escute o podcast preferido que hora e onde que tá. Sopi Studio, powered by Qredits, botou ideia? Qredits educa e prepara a abo para vir um empresário exitoso. De business plan, guia personal e préstamo para negócio até com 100,000 florin. Vira para mês donho com Qredits. Sopway, passa na Sopway para o sop, salada, wrap ou flatbread e mais fresco. Com 7 localidades rond Aruba, não está cerca de Ibo. Sopway. SwingMasterz, organizando events, conferences of weddings, Mister de luz, sound, staging, DJ, trussing of flat screen, SwingMasterz está claro para ser boa fiesta éxito. SwingMasterz. E agora, Sopi Studio é plataforma de podcast de Aruba, está apresentar.
Good afternoon, good morning if you just woke up, and welcome to Tech Impact.
Welcome. Before we begin with the show, we need to start with the formalities, such as our sponsors.
Big thanks goes out to Qredits, making this possible. Professionals coming onto a great platform, connecting people through podcasting. Subway, Eat Fresh. SwingMasterz, making it all beautiful and look very professional. Thank you so much.
Yes. So it's been
what a week.
Quite a week, hasn't it?
Yeah. So let's get a couple things out of the way. Welcome. We're gonna talk about coding. Our producers giving us messages.
Thank you.
Yeah. Everything.
I needed to speak closer to the.
Okay.
microphone.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be talking about some interesting stuff regarding art and coding. I did some research for all of you guys and gals. But yeah, let's get a couple things out of the way. You shared with me, Jean-Luc, what do you have for us?
Yes. So, of course, we as public figures, we have to tackle the situation within Ukraine and Russia. Right?
Yes.
And if anything, for those that are interested, I have gathered a few links to organizations within Ukraine. If anyone watching and listening is interested in supporting them in any way.
Have you shared that with me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm pulling up the information right now. 1 second, everybody. A little bit of patience. We're setting up so we can share these links.
It varies from supporting the Ukrainian army directly to aiding a local foundation for supporting kids that go through war trauma and etc., and everything in between.
Okay,
So-
I just shared it. Yes, sir.
Yes.
You know, I played this game, this War of Mine on Steam. It was a sort of a survival game, and very realistic. And it's so surreal, really, to have seen this unfold in the last week.
It is.
And before we go to our main subject, it's kind of shocking, really, and I'll give my 25 cents, that we're experiencing some strange imperialism, from in 2022. And I think we'll all agree that calling Russia's president dangerous is a total understatement.
Yes.
And the pressure that is put on the West right now is enormous. And I think it's a super dangerous situation.
Yeah.
And we are all worried now what that means for Aruba and the Caribbean tackling sustainable development goals. What is this all going to mean, right? So, and maybe, just maybe, this might accelerate even more some of the things we've been talking about. What blockchain can mean and what sustainable energy practices mean. So these themes that are happening have to accelerate.
Yes.
Right? So the dependence on oil and gas is a huge category in this war, right? What do you think?
I'm just the biggest concern for me, right, is the huge amount of pressure and tension that there is within global international relations in general right now.
Right.
Because it's extremely sensitive what's going on, right? And I would hate to be a politician during this day and age, or especially during this week. I would despise it.
You know, it was enlightening, really, when some speakers came up in the news in Holland, and I realized that the Dutch have a lot of history and knowledge regarding geopolitical military situations, and remember they were an executive arm for the U.S. for a long time, so they know what they're doing, and that kind of gives me some confidence.
Let us.
The sensitive subject. I want to. Sorry to interrupt you. The sensitive subject is simple: nuclear war.
Yes.
This is what
that is.
This is not something that. It could be the end of the end, really, and that's what everybody's afraid of.
That's
that one strike, and
that's the nightmare.
Yeah.
That's that one step, because we're already so many steps towards it already, right? And so
and the last thing I want to say about it, and then we'll table that, because we're definitely not expert in any of this. We're just concerned citizens, really. But if you think about it, when you look at Europe and you look at Ukraine, it's almost like it's like a finger inside of Europe. No, really, I really see it that way. It's a finger, almost metaphorically. You know, it's hard to explain. Anyway.
So if anybody is feeling distressed, if anybody is...
we understand. And you should be. And it's okay.
Yes, we are there with you. It is completely understandable.
Yeah. And for all... And remember, our community is built on people that are entrepreneurs, businesses, people that work in businesses, people that work for governments. I think all of us, we have to now stand in solidarity moving forward, no matter what. Hopefully this can unify us a little bit and stop with that polarization era that we've just gone through, and start thinking together. And that's what we're about, you know. And our initiative, Coder Dojo, where we can see that Jean-Luc and I are at the bibliothèque twice a month and teaching kids how to code, and you know, it's super positive, and we'll get to that on the next show. So yes, guys, let's stand in solidarity with each other, and let's unify a bit more, and because we're gonna feel the effects probably.
Oh yeah.
Another thing, a shout out to Atya yesterday. It was great. I was a speaker there talking about digitalization, and I met some very interesting people. And Aruba ROI was great. Talking about automation, very exciting stuff.
Nice.
A shout out to the guys from Motus Minds, they're building websites and doing a good job. Also, Pay.away was there. A great explanation, great solutions. CXPay was there. So, not advertising, but thank you guys for giving a great event towards the community. And here we go. Let's go to the subject.
Let us begin. So, for anyone who is new here, we apologize for that extremely long intro. My name is Jean-Luc.
Yeah.
I am a student at the University of Aruba,
Uh-huh.
and I have had an interest in technology and games my entire life.
Bruce Harms here, multimedia engineer by trade, but now moving into more of a digitalization advocate and blockchain advocate, and anything really to do with technology that impacts us in the community.
I'm starting to enjoy the fact that you are saying something different every week. You should try to keep that up.
Let's see how far I can take it.
Yeah, see how far it can go.
Yeah, I'm moving away from the evangelist word. You know, I'm starting.
I understand.
Yeah, you understand why, right? Well, we'll get to that later. But anyway, coding art.
Coding art.
Yeah, I went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah. So we talked about that already, right? So I mentioned something called processing. Ever heard of it?
Like, I mean, processing information. And
No.
But,
processing is a flexible software sketchbook and a language for learning how to code within the context of visual arts.
ooh.
So it's like Scratch, or it's like Sonic Pi, right? Sonic Pi is a programming language or a language that you can code sound with and code music with. But its intent is to get more people to learn how to program, learn how to code.
So for those who don't know, Scratch is a coding language / software that is meant and designed with the idea of introducing people to the
Fundamentals.
fundamentals and logic of coding.
Yeah, so it's basically Lego. It's Lego using Lego to program.
Yes.
And it's super intuitive, and you're more than welcome to go check it out. You can go to scratch.edu, and I just shared the link for processing, which is also a bit of software, and people are making amazing art with it.
Interesting.
And I'll go even further. Within this rabbit hole, I found that it's not really, we think of it as things like a paintbrush or Photoshop, but art in itself could be the programming, and there's a fusion happening. So a lot of, let's say, advocates of generating art say this is where the developer and the designer are not, what is that called? Dichotomy? that dichotomy? I read that. I don't even know what it means. But usually in an creative environment, so for example, a studio, you have the designer and then you have the developer, and they give each other's files. That's how I used to work. But I think it's interesting to use programming to generate art, or even further, art can generate applicable, let's say, stuff. So I've seen, for example, somebody that uses code to generate real things, like a mechanical flower.
Nice.
And he uses code for that.
I've heard of it. I've heard of something similar, but the other way around.
Talk to me.
So people using like forms of art or like pictures as the coding language.
Right.
So,
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Yeah, cool.
So it's the
I
other
love
way.
that.
So this is code being the art, but what I researched or what I found was the art being the code. So people would have like this image file, right? It's just a complete image file. It's just one with a bunch of pixels, right? And that was an entire program. That's how it was coded. The code is the pixels in there and the colors.
Cool. I love that.
A very interesting one was that somebody made a recipe format, a way to code.
Yeah. Let me share with you. So I've put the link. It's called AIartists.org, and I'll just read out. Anders Hoff is one of those artists. I don't think they see themselves as artists. What I enjoy the most is the complex and intricate results you get from a set of simple rules. So if you think about it, programming, in a way, you just set a couple of rules and then run program.
Yeah.
And then something happens. For example, a really cool mosaic with diagonal lines is generated, and it looks super beautiful.
It is pretty.
You see that? So
Have you shared it with our?
I've shared
producer?
check out Anders Hoff, and there's very interesting things happen. I know that also because when I was experimenting with Sonic Pi, right?
The music software.
The music software, and I wanted. So I had this chord structure, right? Standard chord structure in Dorian, in E Dorian actually. So it's something like let's just say a song in F and G, and it hits on the 4-bar, and that's a set of rules. So 1, 2, 3, 4 F, 1, 2, 3, 4 G. You know what I wanted? I wanted triplets of bells randomly generate over a scale. So I set rules, and then something became pretty beautiful.
Nice.
And it worked, and I think that's what's interesting. So can you use auto generation to create unique experience?
I mean, something that has recently gained a little bit of traction within certain niche gaming communities that I'm a part of is using AI to create images.
Yes.
And there is specifically one that everybody uses since it is for free on the App Store. It's called Wombo.
Wombo, yeah, cool.
And you could input a bunch of words, right? And what we are assuming is what it does is that it takes a bunch of pictures, right? Analyzes the data in it and just then technically meshes it out, makes an image that best represents every image that it has ever seen, right? And you get very, very interesting results if you know how to work with the software.
And when you see the results, it's almost, you can't really tell the difference if it was made by a human mind or a computer, which is interesting. You can't look, if I would show you art and you would have to guess which one is generated, you probably won't even know.
I mean, I've been able to recognize some of the AI mesh art, especially since they're very good at making something recognizable but still different, which is something that I have not personally been able to see a person be able to replicate.
What I think is amazing, now that we're discussing it, I think you're right. Let me pull that one in, because I'm looking at another piece of art. What they did was set rules to generate a real piece of artwork, and that's not digital, but they did use programming for it, and it's amazing. I think, again, intricate shapes from simple rules.
Yes.
And that's really interesting. But let's go further. Are there any applications? Look, I'm an advocate of learning. Learning a code for art is a great incentive to learn how to code, just because it's another way of expression. So when you're a kid, you get drawing tools and you get crayons, and then later on you might even go to watercolor. I thought watercolor was insanity. It didn't make any sense to me. But now that I see people doing watercolors, it's amazing what they achieve. Yeah. But they do use certain tricks.
Yes.
Randomization as well, right? If you see a Bob Ross video, right?
He just goes.
He just goes, and it's within that system of chaos, something emerges, and I think that's pretty cool to see, and more accentuated in the programming. But moving on, there's some really interesting artists out there, and I'll share some with you. One is called his name is John Mccormack, Melbourne-based. Nice logo. Yeah, but that's aiartist.org.
Very nice logo.
yeah. He's made he's taken oil logos.
Oil logos?
Yeah, so Exxon and stuff like that, and then turned them into flowers. And
wow.
And yeah,
that's very genius.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So there's an opinion shared or a paradox, really.
Yes.
Which I think is interesting.
That's a dichotomy.
There you go. Thank you.
That's a dichotomy.
There's also, I don't have the video anymore. Oh, here, Memories of Passers-by. I'll be sharing that right now. Memories of Passers-by by Mario Klingman. What he created was a machine. It looks like an old TV box. And there's 2 frames. And portraits are of non-existent people are generated.
Oh.
And it's generating forever.
Wow.
And he sold that piece for a good chunk of money.
I mean, it's still pretty cool.
Yeah, very interesting approach to, let's even call it a audio-visual experience.
I have a famous one, right?
Yeah.
There is an art piece, right?
Yeah.
Of a what do you call those arms? A mechanical like full motion arm, right? That you would usually see in
a robotic arm.
A robotic arm,
sure.
Right. But we're talking like industrial level, right?
Yeah.
The art piece is called "I Can't Help Myself."
I'm already. That's a great title.
Look it up, and I'm very confident that some of our viewers knows about this piece, right?
I can't help myself.
Yeah. But what it is, right, is that it is programmed to keep a pool of very dark liquid close to it, right? But it's only one arm, so we'll be forever trying to keep it close to it and turning around.
Yeah.
And it's not doing anything, right? And so it's been going for a few months now, as far as I know, maybe even a few years. And the installation is now covered in paint splashes somehow, even though it doesn't move violently, just pure chance. It is getting
not pure chance, chaos.
It's getting messier and messier, trying
to
keep everything, just doing its
I can't help myself.
I can't help myself art installation.
Okay, sorry guys. We'll be prompting this for example in my search.
I would recommend the viewers and listeners who haven't seen this to also quickly look it up, because it is quite an impactful piece, even within its simplicity.
Okay, let me see. A robot struggle to send a message.
Yes.
A robot struggle to send a message.
Yes. I think a best way to describe this is simply futility. Look at that.
Oh, wow. And that's blood. Looks like blood.
It looks like blood, yeah.
Oh, man.
He's programmed to keep that as close to it as possible. And of course, it is futile. And look at
amazing.
Look at how it got. It started clean and white in there, and now look how far it's gotten.
Do you think it's a Sun Juan and Peng Yu macabre sense of humor employed to address provocative topics?
Mm-hmm.
So I Can't Help Myself talks a little bit about humanity being that arm. It's trying, but it just can't seem to get it done.
And of course, it's programmed to do so, and yet it is futile. So programming into art. There you go. This is a great.
Beautiful.
Great
you see, example. I know. I do my research, and here you come with a great spinner. Amazing. Let's share that with our listeners and viewers.
It is a very, very, and also a great example, a small tangent of how we could easily humanize even the most inhuman things. This is just
no.
arm.
What I think they're saying is you could give it 2 arms if you're God. Right?
Oh, no, we can't go there.
Exactly. No. I'm not, no. But
Okay,
you see what I'm saying?
Yes,
what they're really saying is that the solution's right in front of you. It's just you can't imagine it through the confines of framework. They're displaying a framework of a box, and there's items in there, and you can't. It's a vacuum. You can't go in there. But the solution's right in front of you. What it needs is some help.
Yes, it needs
Some help.
It needs some help. He can't help himself.
I know, but can humanity help itself?
We could talk about this piece for hours.
Well, why not? But that's what the show is about. It's about you and me talking about it.
I mean, but that also goes to show of how good of a piece it is.
Exactly.
Yes,
But let's go there. I think that's what they're trying to say.
What are the name of the artists? Because I failed in that department myself.
I just said it. It was Sun Quan. It's a duo. 1 second. You know, here we go. Got it.
Patience, please.
Patience, please. It's a lengthy article
Mm-hmm.
at awnaves.com. Sun Quan and Peng Yu.
Apologize for butchering that.
Here we go. The robot's constant dancing about to achieve its task represents the futility
Yeah.
of modern attempts to maintain sovereignty by preventing free migration.
Wow. It's wow.
Heavy in context.
Heavy in context.
We
indeed.
just spoke about
Wow. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Free chance. Huh.
amazing.
But
And I think if art, let's go just for art in general, if it can, you know, get you this far, it's hit out of the park, you know. It's amazing. It's amazing. Going to some more recommendations. I see here Lauren McCarthy is an LA-based artist examining human identity and interactions amidst the backdrop of automation and algorithmic living.
cool.
Ooh.
Well,
So, for example, there's a 24-hour host. Here again, a robot arm is presented, I think. And
What?
the changing room, the custom software installation and performance invites participants to select one of hundreds of emotions, then invoking that emotion in them and everyone in the space through a layered environment of lights, visual, sound, text, and interaction exhibited over the entire space. And I see something like currently combative.
I sent
Hello,
you.
someone. Oh, that's great.
Ah, nice.
Okay. Moving on.
I
Yeah.
also sent you a link to the video I was referencing, right? And it is specifically about esoteric programming languages,
Okay.
right?
I don't even know what that means.
Basically, programming languages that do not necessarily fit our traditional image and expectations of what makes a programming language, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
so the opposite of functional?
It functions. It's 100%
No,
functional.
when I say functional, basically a lot of programming languages have built-in blocks that do stuff already, right? And you just pull that out. There's robust programming languages that can get to the core of the computer, and then you have, functional. So, for example, like when I say play C, a note will play instead of
You need to define
take the
C,
speaker
yeah.
and play the frequency.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
It's the latter.
Okay.
But it's nonetheless, it's very cool. Somebody made basically a programming language where you have to basically write a Shakespearean play.
Okay.
And it's not official in any way, right? But it works. And somebody basically wrote a Shakespearean play that produces Hello World and then performed it.
Okay.
Performed the code as a Shakespearean play.
Okay.
Did it make sense? Not really, but they did it. It was an actual full-on play that had actors, that had props, that had conversations and everything.
Wow. And the exercise is to demonstrate?
That
I don't know, I'm just asking.
Basically that with esoteric programming languages, right?
Right.
That there are very, very extremely creative ways that people can explore not only creating art through programming, but the programming itself being the art.
Yeah. And that's what this is that realm that I want to enter. Since I'm learning a little bit of Python, and I just bought coding art. I just ordered the book this morning, so I can't wait to get it. But in the meantime, we could experiment. Let's challenge ourselves and make a piece of art and present it next week.
Sure.
All right. So for all you out there witnessing, me and Jean-Luc are going to try and program an image and see what we can come out of it. Get out of it.
Program an image?
Let's program an image, or let's generate a image through coding.
Okay.
Generate an image. Sure. And then we're going to talk about which programming languages we used. And do you need some recommendations? I mean, you built a game in which software again?
I used GameMaker Studio, which is basically a variation of Java.
Java. Okay. Well, at Coder Dojo, the kids, they made a mandala. I can't say mandala. That's not how you...
Mandala.
With Scratch. It was
yes.
pretty cool.
Yes.
And it's also a bit auto-generated with a simple set of rules. Very cool.
I think the most obvious connection with programming and art would be video games.
Yeah. Well, the reason I think this topic is interesting is since everybody's so interested in NFTs, right? So,
I mean, a hot topic these days.
Hot topic. And yesterday I got a lot of questions about that, and it was hard to not tell people, don't worry about NFTs, you're not going to get rich.
We concluded that last year.
We already did. Well, go check out our shows about NFTs, and we'll come back to that. Let me move on with some interesting applications of coding art. So one man called Robbie Barat, or Barat, is someone that generates landscapes and nude portraits, but he uses neural networks to make that happen. Very interesting.
So a form of AI then.
Of course. So AI generated nude portraits, and he's made some beautiful work that really looks like abstract art, but there's a skull. So go check that out. Robbie Barat. He's done landscapes, nude portraits, neural network as a video game shader using CycleGAN. CycleGAN. You know that?
Not specifically that, but the idea of using neural networks as shaders in video games.
Using CycleGAN, a corpus of Minecraft gameplay frames was collected through Barrett's own gameplay, and a corpus of landscape oil paintings he scraped from WikiArt. He was trained in a network to turn Minecraft into a playable oil painting.
Wow.
So what's interesting is you can create interesting experiences. Yeah, I think we're gonna enter a whole new realm of art.
Of course. I mean, we already did with the introduction of gaming, and as people become more proficient with just programming, it just takes one madman to bring a change in the arts.
Yeah,
in the land between code and art.
Mario Klingman is the one that created the auto-generated portraits, memories of passersby. And it's an installation as well.
I honestly find that the idea of two portraits infinitely generating new faces that most likely don't exist, right?
Yeah. He says they're not pictures of people.
They're not pictures, so they're fully generated.
Yeah, and remember, they look a bit odd.
Oh, okay.
It's only the human mind can see the face. But you see something of an eye and lips and nose, but it's a bit shaded. It's also in movement.
But that's exactly why I love it, right? Because that's in the name, memories of passerbys.
Yeah. No, it gives you a lot to think about. But what I've also seen in my rabbit hole that I went this morning, they can use generative coding to create more efficient shapes So when they use what they learned from nature, how plants grow, and how nature structures itself, they use those same algorithms to replace what would be a simple, let's say, joint for a truck. And then using these computations, they can actually build something that is stronger, 20% stronger, and uses 40% less material.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is very interesting. Where we're really using the computational power available to mankind. And when you see the shapes, like no way somebody would have designed that.
Yeah.
You know, because it's a bit more chaotic, but we can learn a lot from how nature structures itself. Yeah. Because you know, it's been tested through time.
It's been through more time than we have. Yeah.
Yeah. Just to throw out some numbers, the universe, well, as mankind's knowledge, so the whole consensus is the rough guess of about 17 billion, and the Earth 5 billion, and when life begins, that's also conjecture, but. Let's give it an easy 1 billion years for these structures to know what they're doing. That's a powerful number, you know. So yeah, Mario Klingman, people, very cool. And I'm gonna share here, Jean-Luc. This is for you.
That's very cool.
Codepoetry.com, and there's one, let's call it a rendition of words. So this is that example that the programming is the art in combination. You know, it's a mesh. Where is it? Yeah. And I love that they're pushing the boundaries of what we consider art, because we do see art in boxes or in frames. And if you see a sculpture, for example, that's kind of like, if you think about it, it's always, you got to go around it to experience it. So you're still in a frame, right? And this is pretty cool. I'll be sharing that right now with our listeners and watchers.
Another strange thing that people manage to do with an esoteric programming language, right?
Yeah.
Recipe lang, right? Somebody made basically Hello World through, but it's also a recipe for a chocolate cake.
Okay.
Like the instructions is literally just a chocolate cake, but it reduces Hello World. And then the person baked the cake and ate it.
Okay. Interesting.
So he quite literally ate the instructions to Hello World. Right?
I don't know what to say. You got me.
That's almost magical to me, you know?
Yeah. Very cool. I'm now browsing to the article, and I'll share it, and we'll end the show here. For example, you know the checkbox of a form? I don't know what's going on with my music. Let's get my music going.
Okay, give it a chance. There we go.
Nice. You know the checkboxes? And somebody created a wireframe of this checkbox, and then you can click them on to create art.
Nice.
Pretty, like sort of like a pixel generator. I think that's a simple way that you can experiment, but repurposing something for something else. So as a skateboarder, right? Somebody that skates, that's what it usually was about. You know, street skating is turning what a handrail was for helping people to walk into an aesthetic expression. No, but
you're right.
Yeah, no, but
you're right. Yeah.
If you watch Dogtown and Z-Boys, which is the history of skateboarding, skateboarding comes from surfing, and it was born in, you could say, modern skateboarding was born in Los Angeles. And I think Venice, California, where kids couldn't surf in the morning, in the afternoon, and then they took roller skates and put them on a board, and because they were surfers, they started looking at concrete in a new way. And if you think about that, that's what art could be. that's what art is about. Repurposing something into something else. That's just the celebration of the human mind, you know? I mean, think about it. We're tool making monkeys.
Yeah. We're just
big brained.
We're just good at making tools.
Yeah, well, absolutely not. We've got emerging properties like these, you know, and that's what I think is super. It's almost liberating when I see this. I go, oh man, yeah, we could look at things in another way, and that's what I think is really cool. Coming from a skateboarding background, you know, why do we do tricks? Well, it's an aesthetic expression, right? And why do you have photographers that take pictures, and that's an art form in itself.
Yeah.
Let's continue. I mean, you know, you were right. There is a project that can take all your data and turn that into an experience, and it's randomly generated.
Cool.
And obviously, we see algorithms turning, black screens into moving particles. I mean, that's not so. Let's put it this way. The first subjects we went through, those were really interesting, right? And complex.
Yeah. I think a very simple, right, and a great example of code leading to art, right? Especially at this point, because now it's gotten a air of nostalgia to it, right?
Yeah.
We don't see it behind me anymore. The old DVD screens where it goes into a wall, changes color, bounces, hits a wall, bounces.
But on different screens.
Well, just the.
Oh, you mean the DVD?
Yeah.
That's a famous part.
Yeah.
Of The Office, one of my favorite shows of all time.
Oh, and them waiting for it to reach the corner.
Yeah, they're all waiting for that algorithm to finally complete and get there.
And it is through that, right? It is
the DVD logo.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, and it's bouncing around.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
It is through that experience that the programmers had no intention in behind, right? But it's quite a universal thing I've realized so far. Everybody who stared at that screen has waited for some time, maybe a minute, maybe 2 hours, maybe 6, to in the hope of it touching that corner, right?
It's a human expectation.
Yeah, and
it's releasing the tension.
And through that, I believe it became art.
Oh man,
unintentionally, it became art.
Yeah. I totally agree. So that's so fun. Let me share another great initiative. Professor Tim Rodenbroker does generative design, gives generative design to the students of Rheinwald University in Germany. Oh. And he has a software for that, and he's pushing the limits of fonts.
Oh.
And I'm going to share that link right now. You guys go check it out. Oh, super cool. Look at that. So
very nice.
So what he's doing is, why do we conform to a typeface being unilateral, right? So it's always it's a bunch of rules, and he's actually pushing the boundaries on that a little bit.
Nice.
Check it out.
Nice. I've always wanted to figure out how to change the font.
Oh, look at that. That's cool. Typeface.
Ooh.
Oh, I see what so basically he's changing shapes randomly. So you got, interesting.
Share the link.
Share the link. I'll be sharing it right now.
For anybody who's listening in a future date, all of these links are being posted on the Facebook Live. And said links should be, most likely is available even when the live stream is over.
Yeah, so thank you guys. I think we're going to end it here. It was a bit more hectic because it's hard to... These are, abstract concepts and it's very visual, but we are a podcast, so it's also... we're also here for people that don't watch, but listen. And please check out the links when you get a chance. And let's see how this weekend develops. Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Any final messages from you, Jean-Luc, for today?
We will definitely encourage you to explore expressing yourself through art in any way, really, not specifically through programming. And people always will hesitate with that, right?
You're right.
Thinking that they won't be able to come up with anything new, right? But a thing that has been mentioned to me, and is quite real actually, is that we constantly build new things by building it on the old. Through converging already pre-made or thought out stuff, concepts basically, that's how you make new stuff.
Sure.
And you can only do that by trying.
Right. And exactly. And so my final message will be regarding our subject today. Initiatives to create coding. Creative coding is about experimentation, not functionality. And I'm reading here. Not to say the two are mutually exclusive, but the expressive potential of coding is a large reason why it is considered creative. And we do this twice a month at Coder Dojo. And I think everybody should do it a little bit more. Might be more fun than you think. It is not exclusive to web developers.
Yeah.
Right? So, okay, guys, we're going to do the final says. Stay strong. And let's...
Till next week.
Till next week. And with an image, we got a challenge.
Oh, yes.
With an image.
Yes.
Go on, guys. See you later.